And we are live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of NXT Losos, the sexiest NXT review show out there on the internet. Of course, I am one of your hosts, Mikey, also known as El Jefe, around these BC WrestlePod parts. And yeah, this is technically the debut, like new form version 2.0, if you will, of our NXT crew. Because separately, I've done reviews for NXT with each one of these individuals by themselves, but this is the first time that the three of us are going to be here together. So, first and foremost, of course, I got Papa also, who's been rocking with me for the NXT review since day one. So he's one of the OGs. He's been here with me the longest. And then new to our NXT crew, which means that I am slowly getting him to do more stuff, as now this is the second team that he's a part of here at BC WrestlePod, is the Pleat Father himself, Mr. Kilt Man. Happy to have you here. Of course, he's also our on the ground correspondence, as he actually gets to go to these NXT tapings, which makes me super jelly.
Then come visit.
Florida is far. Florida is far, you guys. Like Kilt is far.
Yeah, I know. I live here. I don't like it. I hate it. But PC's here, so it kind of makes up for it.
Very fair. And tonight, the three of us are going to be reviewing NXT's Homecoming, which, this felt like, I'm going to be honest, this was a really interesting episode. We're going to break it down bit by bit, but I was just like, I feel so, metaphorically speaking, I feel so naked because it was a TV special. I was like, oh my God, I feel like I missed a whole bunch of things. I was like, this was such an outside episode, especially what we've been building to for the last couple of weeks leading into No Mercy. It's like, we're going to put a pause on that. And we kind of got some developments, but also it was just a celebration of 10 years of NXT, which I was like, cool. But there were so many people, and we crammed a lot of things into 2 hours, which I was just like, this is a lot, you guys. And we're going to break all that down in here in a little bit. But before we do, we got to get through some announcements, if you will. So if you like what you see here on the screen and you want to, delve more into the BC WrestlePod lore, then I highly suggest that you follow us, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Twitch or Kick, whatever your preferring video watching and streaming platform is, because we love you. And we want you to watch us review wrestling, because we do a lot. And that's not even like hyperbole. That is just pure fact. We cover so many things, and it is great. Literally, our whole entire summer was jam-packed with craziness. And we're kind of slowing it down, but the fall is about to ramp up because it's about to get buck wild here too. But we also know that watching the full-length reviews might not be for you. But if you still want to be a part of our community and interact with us, then the other option is to follow us on whatever your preferred social media platform is at BC WrestlePod, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, whatever social media you use the most and is easiest for you, we're on there. So give us a follow, give us a like, and comment on our posts, because we pretty much do a lot of things. We post previews for all the week's TV shows on the day of. We do report cards of the weeklies and the pay-per-views. We have, announcements of our merch and watch-alongs and all sorts of stuff. Literally, the social medias is where you're going to find the most news for us. And speaking of merch, if you want to support us financially, while also in return getting something really cool for yourself to wear, we have a merch store. We are at BC WrestlePod, shop.fourthwall.com, where we have a bunch of review merch for all of our review teams, including our international brands. We also have, some fun ones like our Pride collection, our Anti-Fascism collection, and the two newest collections that just dropped this week include our fall collection, our, Pumpkin Suplex Latte Fall Edition shirt, which is fantastic, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And then just dropping on Monday just in time for Hispanic/Latino Heritage Month, running all the way to October 15th, is our Festival of Lucha shirt, in which we have art designed by some inspiration from different Latin artists. And of course, those two collections do have charity tie-ins, with our fall collection having the charity of No Kid Hungry, which donates money and food to children so they do not go hungry during the holiday seasons and especially during the back to school season. And then our Latino Heritage Month collection has two organizations that preserve Latin art and also the education of Latin artists, whether it be painting, drawing, whatever. Preserve the arts, preserve the culture. More information on our merch store below. You can click the link in the description of this video as well as the chat as well. And then also over the course of this review, you will see a link for our coffee. So buy us something nice if you want. Donate, because we got to keep the lights on here, y'all. But now that I'm done with all of that, let's just jump straight into it. Again, we are here to review NXT Homecoming. And when I was done with it, I sat there and I'm just like, I felt like we were in the land of Bizarro World. Like, this was such a standalone episode of NXT that broke all the convention and the norms and everything that we've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks. And I was like, oh my God, this is truly a one-off. And it was so weird. I was like, I feel naked, so to speak. I was like, this was so weird. We put a big pause button on the Built to No Mercy. Be like, hey guys, we're going to celebrate 10 years of NXT. And we're not really going to progress a lot of stuff, but we're going to talk about one thing that progressed. I was like, I hate that's how we got it, but whatever. I'm going to start with you, Papa Oso, because me and you were having a chat back and forth earlier today about this. But yeah, overall, what are your opening thoughts to Homecoming for NXT?
I didn't understand this episode. I didn't get it. I didn't understand what the point of it was. I mean, was it just glorification of people from the past? I mean, is that really what it was? I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I think, all the wrestlers, all the performers did amazing. So don't think I'm dissing on any of what they've done. Wow, I think I froze. Oh, there I am. I froze for a second there. I was like, what's going on? Now I lost my train of thought. Dang it. Damn you, technical gods.
They heard you talking major crap about
Homecoming. It's NXT. They're after me now. No, I think the performers did great. I just didn't. This episode was weird. I mean, it was just I didn't. And and because it was so weird, I kind of didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. It was, I don't know. It was just very strange. It was just, I didn't understand. It's one of those, why now? Why here? Why now?
I was going to say, I was just like, we picked here for Homecoming, which I was like, okay, cool. But I'm like, this was a random time to do this. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. Whatever, man. I also feel like this episode was bloated. I was just like, they crammed so many people and so many things in the span of a 2-hour television show.
Yep, I agree.
And again, because we were bringing all generations of NXT through, I was like, there were so many of the folks that we've been seeing over the last couple months, like no Blake Monroe, no Jordan Grace, no Jada Parker, no Lash Legend. I was like, it's crazy, but we're going to get into all of that. But Kiltz, your initial thoughts of Homecoming and how you felt after you got done watching it?
It was very disconjointed. There were spots that there were promos that fizzled into something that fizzled into nothing, and then there was big hits because here comes big people coming back, and then kind of sidetracking things, and then there was just promos that weren't really well put together, and it just everything was kind of weird. I honestly couldn't tell you exactly what was going on for most of the time, outside of, oh look, someone's doing this, oh look, someone's doing that, oh look, someone's doing that, and I'm like, oh look, a person, oh look, a person, oh my god, that person's here, oh my god, that person's here. Like they promoted that Bianca Belair was going to be there, and I'm thinking, oh, she's going to wrestle or do something, and then she's just hanging out in the audience. I'm like,
I'm just like, how dare you? I'm like, how dare you use Bianca in that manner? I was like, homegirl can go.
Yeah, and then it's just like it was weird. Like I couldn't understand it. It was disconjointed, and I think they looked at their script, they looked at what they wanted to do, then they realized, oh crap, we can't do X, Y, and Z, so we had to cut this, we had to cut that. Let's skip this. Let's move along. And like we only have so much time here at Full Sail before they kick us out. So let's go.
Let's get it. Yeah. So we're gonna break it down bit by bit, but again, this were so many people involved in this whole entire thing that it was bloated and a lot of stuff was, yeah. So we'll get into that. But let's kick things off though, because we spent like a good like 10 minutes with the intro package and the in-ring promo. So I will say though, I did like the video package because especially for those who have not been, listen, I know we've been covering NXT here at BC WrestlePod since its inception 3 years ago, but I've been a ride or die NXT person. I have been watching since the inception 10 years ago. So I literally have a decade of NXT underneath my belt, seeing from its origin to where it is now. And I have gone through the 3 different iterations of NXT that we've had. So I really like this, especially for anybody who is just part of NXT now and doesn't know all the history of Black and Gold NXT and what I call the Nickelodeon slime splat era of NXT 2.0, which Papa also was a part of. Those are some crazy times. I was just like, this was a weird. And then now we're in the silver and black era of NXT, which then led into a promo where, you know, Triple H comes out, does the Triple H thing, be like, we want to thank the fans. We love you here. He's interrupted by the sexy boy himself, Shawn Michaels. Sexy boy. God, I never get tired of his theme song. And then randomly, these two got beef because, like, Triple H is like, Shawn, I have a question for you. How would you feel if I said I wanted to come back to NXT? And then Shawn Michaels is like, then we would have a problem, which then prompts William Regal to come out and do the War Games thing here. And I was just like, are we getting an NXT versus main roster War Games? Because sign me up. But we get no clarification on that because then Charlotte and Alexa come out and it bleeds into the next like highlight where they highlight the history of the women's wrestling in NXT, which, to be fair, I agree with Charlotte. The women of NXT have been holding it down for the Fed since the inception of NXT. Like main roster, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, the women are the spectacle, and we wish the company would treat them as such, but that's a whole different conversation. So Charlotte and Alexa name off as some women, you know, like some prominent names, women, the 4 horsewomen, which include Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, you know, Becky, Lyra, Emma, Paige, Ember Moon, which I was like, ooh, they dropping AEW wrestlers now. That's kind of crazy. But then again, we smashed like 2-3 different opening segments into one. I was just like, this is long. I was just like, can we get to the point now? Which thankfully Alexa and Charlotte was like, listen, we have a tag team match, so y'all gotta leave right now. And I was like, okay. This was a long segment, you guys. I was like, this was 10 whole minutes. This was a lot. I was just like,
it was long.
It was a lot. It was long. And I was like, oh, something tells me this is how the rest of the night is going to go, isn't it? And by the end of it, I was like, I hate it when I'm right sometimes. But I digress. Before our match, though, backstage, it was really cute to see Lyra and Tatum reunite in some capacity. I was just like, God, I miss these two as a tag team. Now that Lyra has been on main roster for a while now. And so her and Tatum and Lyra having a nice, lovely moment, which was a lot of fun, which leads us into our first match. This is for the Women's Tag Team Championships. This is, of course, the challengers of Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame of The Calling. Hate that name still. Taking on our current champs, which are our main roster girls of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I really love the beginning segment where our 2 creepy girls with dolls were staring off with each other with their dolls in hand. So, of course, you know, Tatum having the Izzy doll, and then Alexa having the Lily doll. I was just like, I know those Lily dolls are expensive, but I was like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I want one. Like, listen, I'm a big Tim Burton, like, horror Halloween-esque fan. Like, Nightmare Before Christmas is my jam, and so it's like, yeah, I totally buy that and hang it somewhere. I enjoyed this match again because of what we got the whole show. It's like, oh, so okay, we're not gonna go along with this one. And I was like, we got a decent amount. I just wish we got a little bit more. But again, no way did I think that Izzy and Tatum were going to win the tag titles, especially since Charlotte and Alexa have just been holding on to them short of like 2-3 months at this point. So they're still fairly new champs. But I really had a fun time, and I actually really love Charlotte and Alexa interacting with, the rest of the calling on the outside, and this was fun. But Alexa ultimately hits the Sister Abigail on Tatum for the win. Papa, also, what did you think of this match opening up NXT Homecoming?
I mean, I actually enjoyed this match. This was probably, the funny thing is bookend. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was fun. I love Tatum has come so far. It is so great to watch her. And I'm just like, wow, girl, look at you. Look at you in the grown-up league. And I think she's really kind of coming into her own. And I really like it a lot. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a good start, especially after the War and Peace novel we got right before it. So I was like, okay, this has got some energy to it. This has got some energy. Okay, let's see where this takes us. Surely it's all uphill from here.
Spoiler alert. No, it was not. But we were young and hopeful at the beginning of the show. Kilt. So Kilt, you have the
Mikey, did we lose you?
Charlotte and Alexa as these new champs. So what did you think of this match?
You literally cut out at Kilt, blip, blip, and then that's all I got from you.
The internet gods are coming after me, so we need to make this quick.
Okay, so because I watched Charlotte, she admitted they're besties now. They're besties. Anyway, so the besties, who are sisters, in my opinion, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I loved, as you said, the stare down of the creepy girls at the beginning, and then just the creepy. I'm gonna be weird over here, and I'm gonna be weird over here, and I loved it. That was great. Then obviously the Sister Abigail at the end was, and the attempted interference with the guys on the outside. It was an interesting match. It could have set the tone for the rest of the evening if they didn't have the freaking snooze fest beforehand. But I enjoyed it. Then obviously things went.
Yeah, we still got the rest of the show to get through, so we gonna get through that. But our final thoughts on this match. Pretty good. I loved it. Moving on. The girls are fighting, and I was like, don't be fighting. Not right now, at least. So we see Zarya and Sol, who are kind of, getting on each other, because that could have been them in that match against Charlotte and Alexa had they won the #1 contenders match last week. And then all out of the blue, Shayna Baszler, who we know was let go from the company, but is now working backstage in NXT in some capacity, pops up on the screen. I was just like, damn. I was like, how you going to let her go in the company and then she still be popping up like this? I was like, WWE, you messed up. Anyway, Shayna Baszler's like, listen, I have, and it is true, she is one of the most dominant NXT women's champion in the 3 eras that we have. The longest reigning too. Her and Asuka have hold the longest title reigns of any woman on any 3 versions of NXT. She's also been a tag champ, and so she literally tells Sol Ruka and Zarya, be like, hey, get your shit together, you girls. I was like, damn right, Shayna. I was like, Zaruka, y'all need to get it together because we cannot be fighting right now. I was like, there are bigger fish to fry, and I don't want the split to happen anytime soon. So we get at the end of it, they're like, we good? It's like, yeah, we're good. All right. I was like, damn, we progressed like weeks of what could have been fun storytelling into a matter of like 2 minutes. And again, this is going to be a repeat as we go on through this whole thing. I was like, we crammed a segment that could have been spaced out for weeks into like less than 2 minutes. And guess what, kids? This is going to be the running theme for a lot of these backstage segments. So it's like, all right, let's just get through it because this is crazy. I really wanted this match to be a lot better than it actually was. I was kind of disappointed. I'm not even going to lie. I'm like, how you going to have the original theme songs for Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano? You know, and I was just like, killed. Like, again, we cover main roster, so we know, and we're praying that Carmelo Hayes actually gets to do some good stuff because now it seems that he's going after the United States Championship, but I was not a fan of how any of these four were presented in this match. I was disappointed. Mello, especially you, I was like, we know you can ball, but this was not it. This was not it. And then I hated that The Miz came in to run interference. I was like, no! I'm like, So, again, I wanted more from this match. I think all four of these individually are really fun wrestlers. But damn, I was just like, we kept playing the hits like, is Trick gonna betray Mello? Like Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny or Gargano, are they on the same page? I was just like, no, stop playing the will they, won't they game. Just give me a match. And this was what we got. And I was kind of underwhelmed and disappointed with this, boys. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you four. But also, I mean, like,
you know, when like Trick and Carmelo were coming in, is it just me or were they like identical? I mean, it felt like the same person. And I'm just like, has Trick really devolved into Carmelo Hayes? I mean, I don't know. I really was kind of hoping this was going to be a lot better than it was. Especially with the whole rivalry between Trick and Carmelo. I thought for sure this was going to turn into a backstabbing sort of like, and then the other two are just sort of like, what the hell's going on? I really thought that's what it was going to turn into, which I think would have been far more interesting than what we got.
They teased it. They did tease it like twice. Like it was a Trick was setting up. I don't remember what move it was. He was setting up, and then Carmelo tags him to get in and gives him a little wink, and then goes on and you just see Trick like I'm gonna fuck you up, and then he goes to do. I think he goes to do a super kick or something, and then takes out. I think it was Tommaso. And it's like, okay, cool. They're okay with each other. But they had so many teasers. They could have just kept going. They could have had a feud going on.
But again, we got Miz interference because Mello and Miz are a team on SmackDown. So again, Trick and Carmelo win. I'm like, okay. Really quickly, though, got to shout out the homie, Nick, in the chat, saying hi to us. He's like, oh, Mello and Trick together again. One night only, my ass. I've told Mikey this before. They will be together on main roster soon. That's why they both get over, which is fine. But I wanted more from this match. Like, Trick and Mello can win for all I care. I just wish the match itself was not mediocre at best. And I was like, damn. I was like, I know I can get better from all four of you. So what what's this? Sorry, I'm trying not to curse so well right now a lot. But this is where I'm going to start this conversation, and we're going to end it at the end of the show, because especially during this match, Vic Joseph and Booker T, y'all were over telling us about TNA and, telling us that, social media is ablaze because a bunch of the TNA stars, the locker room of TNA, are making their thoughts known and how they're not feeling the disrespect from NXT. And then it comes up again later in the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson, we're going to get on yo ass later, because I was like, oh boy. So when they kept doing that, I was like, I'm smelling a plot. I don't trust either company to do it well, but I smell a plot. But we're going to talk about it at the end, because thank you, Screen Grabs, for giving me all this information. So we're going to put a pin in that later. But again, Mello and Trick win due to a Miz, run-in interference that Mello is unaware of. And yeah, this was just an okay, mediocre match, which is disappointing. Sami Zayn, I love you with all my heart, right? I love you, my ginger-looking hobo. But we cannot keep using you as the motif of an underdog. You literally are not an underdog no more. You are a main event player. So the fact that you are giving this rah-rah speech to Javon. So, okay, really quickly, I want to run through this. So Sami Zayn's here. Sami Zayn, part of the original black and gold era of NXT. Love him. Him and Shinsuke had crazy matches. So good. But he's here because he's like, I was an underdog, and you know who I see here that was like me? Javon Evans. And when Sami Zayn said underdog, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, WWE, I know you guys sell the merchandise, but hot damn. Sami Zayn has moved past being an underdog, but I digress. But then he just got disjointed, because then Josh Briggs comes. He stumbles over his words. Him and Sami have a weird altercation, verbally. Javon comes in to whoop Josh's ass. There's a pull-apart brawl, but the cameraman was stuck on something because he couldn't get the full shot. I was like, what is blocking your way? Pan out. But Josh is pulled away by security. I'm like, damn well that monster of a man is not going to be pulled away by those security guards. I was like, better, but whatever. And so then Sami gives, words of wisdom to Javon to just keep going. And I was just like, number one, again, Sami Zayn, you're not an underdog. But Papa, also, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I'm kind of tired of the repeat rinse and wash with Javon. It's just like, he's losing his way. So now we got to have a main roster or a legend to come in and be like, give him words of inspiration to continue. I'm like, no, Javon, you are talented on your own. We seen you whoop that ass. Just whoop that ass. Like, what are we doing?
I don't get this. I don't get this boo-hoo me, whatever the hell they're doing with him. I don't get it. I'm like, dude, you're better than that. You are so better than that. Why? I mean, I get you're young, and I get that. That's probably what they're playing on, but you're not talentless. I mean, you're good. So I don't get it. This whole, oh, look, here comes another legendary star to come and give you a pep talk. Oh, look, here comes another one. Oh, no, you're down and out. Oh, don't worry. Oh, look, there they are. It's like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get this at all.
Here's the thing. So, and you know what? Again, I don't read too much into it because we watch wrestling and people get mad when we do this. But I'm like, not to say it needs to be, but if you want it to mean more for Javon, I kind of want someone, I don't know, somebody who is, I don't know, African-American black to talk to Javon and mentor him a little bit, because so far it has been Undertaker, who is white as a jar of mayonnaise, but not as pale as Sheamus. So that's a whole different conversation. Sami Zayn is not necessarily 100% white, but I'm like, he is ginger, so that is close enough. I'm just kidding. I was just like, Kilt, you could probably attest to this. I hated where we had Montez Ford in this whole thing. I was like, how are you going to give words and give kudos to Dark State? I was like, fuck all that. I was like, Montez should have been here for Javon. I would have been here for a Montez Javon thing.
I agree. It should have been Montez and Javon. It would have been a better sell than freaking Sami Zayn. I'm like, that would have been better.
Yes, I agree. So this backstage segment was weird. I'm tired of this boohoo Javon. I was like, Javon, We have seen you fly and go through lots of things since you debuted here in NXT like a year and a half ago. Just keep kicking ass and you're gonna be fine. Stop getting in your feelings. We love you and we want you to have feelings, but use those feelings to kick ass, not wallow in your misery. I was like, this was such a weird segment. I didn't like it. I hated this match too, and I was so mad. I was like, I wasn't expecting a 5-star classic, but I'm not even going to front you two. I felt like I was watching this match in slow-mo.
This was useless.
I was like, what?
This was boring as shit.
I was so mad. And then again, because we have too many players, like we have too many cooks in the kitchen, we also have like one of our Triple A stars, Hijo del Wagner Jr. in the front, who has had beef with Ethan Page. And I was just like, there are too many stories growing across like 3-4 different promotions right now. I need y'all to lock it in with like consistent ones. But I was so bored with this match. I was so disappointed.
There's one thing I want to point out real quick. Sorry to cut you off, Will. So where they put Hijo de Doctor or whatever was the same spot they put Bianca Belair. You could have had some continuity and put them either on the other side or a different spot or just somewhere besides the same damn spot you put Bianca Belair.
Tell me you don't like POC wrestlers. I was just like, what are you doing?
I'm not saying that they don't like POC wrestlers, but their track record ain't great. But you're staging and your placing of people that are just there to show up and like for a match or whatever.
I'm just like,
exactly my point. Exactly. It's like you put them in the same spot. Why? My first NXT live where Ash by Elegance was there with her personal Iceman, Pee Wee Herman, whose name I don't really remember. I'm just gonna call him Pee Wee Herman.
Iceman, George Iceman, the concierge.
Yeah, her ice concierge, the Pee Wee Herman. Anyway, and she accidentally smacked me because I wasn't paying attention because I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit, sorry. It's like, and then there was someone on the other side that I didn't notice. Like you had two people, like you had on the opposite sides of each other. Like, come on, you could have done something like that. It's like it's not that hard. You just move some people around. I've seen you do it. Right over.
Yeah, this match was so boring. Papa, also, unless you have any other thoughts, we can move on.
No, it was boring. God, it was so stupid.
God, we're gonna talk about it later we're gonna talk about what transpires in terms of our North American Championship scene a little bit later and how, while I appreciated the people on my screen, didn't like how that was where we got it, but whatever. So Papa also has been around long enough to know that we're not the biggest fans of the Grayson Waller effect. His TV show never works out for anybody. But, oh my God, you guys, this was not good either. I was just like, this was like we smashed two different segments into one because we had the Grayson Waller effect with Oba and Ricky, because these two are going to be fighting at No Mercy for the NXT Championship. I was like, okay, bet. That's cool. But then we got it into the second half because then for some odd reason, Trick Williams decides to come out and just randomly we're getting a title match next week on NXT. I'm like, what the
why?
I know.
Doing? What the hell? Why is that that should be on a pay-per-view.
Not even just that. I was just like, y'all know we getting Oba and Ricky like literally days later at No Mercy. So why are we doing title for title? I'm like, nobody's losing their championship, which leads me to
what
my
it is. Oba's gonna win the TNH title, and then he's gonna lose the NXT title to Ricky, and then Oba's gonna go to TNA.
Listen,
that's my theory.
Oba and TNA would actually be kind of great. Not gonna lie, it would be a lot of fun. But my theory is that it's gonna be a shenanigan. Nobody's gonna lose their championship. But
I know because it'll be boring.
Yeah, I was like, nobody wants to be spicy.
No.
I really didn't like this. The interaction between Oba and Ricky was whatever. I was like, it's the same thing we've been getting the last couple of weeks. I'm still excited for the match, but I was just like, we took a weird turn and we kind of put a pause in the natural progression of things. And then Williams coming out for challenging the title for title match was weird. But then to put the piece de resistance on top of this thing too, out of the blue, not even being prompted, Grayson Waller just takes digs at TNA during the talk show. It's just like, you know what? I was like, I smelt a plot. Now I smell a conspiracy. Grayson Waller continues to add to the fuel. It's just like TNA about to fuck NXT up. They about to come in and fuck these guys up. Or, try to anyways, because for some reason NXT doesn't want, their wrestlers to lose and not look great. But Mike Santana is about, if anybody in that TNA locker room, Mike Santana is going to beat everybody's ass. And that's what I'm hoping is what's coming to this, which we're going to talk about in depth later. But never do the Grayson Waller get on NXT in my life. God, I hated it when he was here, and I still hate it now. Moving on. First of all, yes, melanated. I love these two on my screen. Of course, we got Tavion Heights and the Boricua himself, Damian Priest. Of course, these two have a fun conversation. And this was actually one of the few backstage segments. So I was like, you know what? I like this one because it makes sense in my book, kind of. So Tavion, is telling Damian, he's like, listen, I hate Ethan. I'm like, me too. I was like, me too. And Damian's like, look, I was like, as a former NXT North American champion, like, I know how important that title is. Now, granted, I won in the ladder match, so I didn't fight for it one-on-one, but I know you got the talent, Tavion, and I believe in you. And it's because I believe in you and so much that I talked to Ava, that at No Mercy, you're getting a shot at the title. I was just like, bet. Now, Tavion better win because I can't take Ethan being champion any longer. Again, I kind of hated it. I was like, oh, okay, so this is how we're going to get the match. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. But to be fair, Ethan won the first encounter at Heatwave in that mixed tag match. Tavion won the flag match. And so now I guess it makes sense. I will take what I can get. And it does make sense for Tavion to get this championship match at No Mercy. I'm just really hoping that Tavion gets the run with the North American Championship. But I don't know if that's going to be his future. But who knows? I love these two. I just hated that this was the vehicle, the avenue we used to get Tavion's match at No Mercy because Damian Priest talked to Ava to get him a match. I was just like, Tavion beat him, but whatever, it's fine. But again, love these two. I thought this actually made sense, and I was pretty good with it. Listen. Ren Sinclair is me. Ren Sinclair is me. Like... Can I just say Ren, is just objectively, not even trying the hardest, the best thing and the best memes every time she's on my screen. But, so, we get a backstage segment, and I love this picture, too, because Bobby Roode is covering Charlie Dempsey, who's, literally behind him, which is funny. So, from this, we learn a couple of things. One, we learned that Charlie Dempsey is going to be heading to Japan for about a month, so I was like, ooh, get that Japanese wrestling in because that'd be crazy. So Ren's on her own for a little bit. And then Bobby Roode comes in and it's the glorious one. Joe Hendry gets mentioned. They come. So the fun fact for anybody who doesn't know, I love this interaction because yes, Bobby Roode is in NXT, he was part of the Black and Gold era, but for everybody who knows too, Mr. Bobbert Roode was also a TNA original as well. So we got two TNA folks of different generations talking to each other. And again, Ren is me during this conversation. I was like, ah. So this was another fun one. But again, I was just like, it didn't really perpetuate any more storylines, but me don't care. It was fun. But we do know that Ren's on her own for at least a month, and Charlie is about to go to the Graps in Japan, which is a lot of fun. But we got to move on because, again, I feel like this was a waste of Miles Bourne, and this was also a waste of Finn Balor, in my personal opinion, just to beat up Lexis King, who does deserve to get his ass beat, especially since let's just list the ways that Lexis King deserves to get his ass beat. He didn't believe that Miles was partially deaf. He pepper sprayed this man like 2 weeks ago on her screen and committed a felony, at least assault and battery of some capacity. Though I did enjoy last week Miles Bourne turning off the lights and whooping Alexis King's ass with the chair, which was hilarious to watch. And you know what? Again, Lexis King deserves to be beat up, but I feel like this was a waste of Miles Bourne in the progression of their feud. And more importantly, to me, this is how I don't think this was the way that we should have used Finn Balor, especially that pop Finn got when he came down the ramp. I was like, y'all know we love Finn Balor in this household. Main roster doesn't love him the way that we do, but damn it, we remember the black and gold NXT Finn Balor, the Demon. Though I will say Demonito is probably one of my new favorite things, not gonna lie. But again, this was just a segment to have a segment to get at Finn here, and I was just like, I feel like this was a waste for everybody involved.
Yeah, even Lexis King was a waste for him too.
Which is crazy. I was just like, damn, Lexis, like normally we don't like your guts anyways, but you deserved better. Like you deserved better, which was wild. So this was fine. This saved the night. This was the best thing. My God. So hands down, this was easily the best thing of the night. Main event time. We literally have generations of NXT colliding against each other. So, of course, we got the Fatal Influence girls of our NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix, taking on 3 different iterations of NXT, which includes the more recent black and silver NXT representative, Miss La Primavera herself, Stephanie Vaquer. We love you, Stephanie. I love Stephanie so damn much. Representing the 2.0 Nickelodeon Splat colorful version is the Bird Lady, as they call her, Lyra Valkyria, which was really exciting to see her here. But then y'all already knew what it was. Representing the black and gold era, the original OG era of NXT, Mommy is always on top, Miss Rhea Ripley. And I was just like, yes. And we talked about this last week, both of you separately in different conversations. I'm just like, Lyra and Rhea and Stephanie better win. There is no way in hell I am going to accept Fatal Influence beating these 3 girls. But hot damn, this match was so much fun. We got Lyra jump in. We got the double, Devil's Kiss, and Booker T just being a horny on main. Like I was just like, oh, Booker T. I was like, it's kind of weird. Normally I hate it. I hate you for it, but I'm actually kind of glad because it's been a while since we've seen Booker do it in NXT with Stephanie doing that finisher.
Stupid. As soon as I started doing it, I choked.
I mean, like, but also shout out because this is the one match that also progressed while we're getting at No Mercy too, because Lola comes out and beats a bitch ass too. I was like, Lola is beating girls up. God, this was so much fun, and to my little heart's content, the NXT generational girls of Rhea, Stephanie, and Lyra win here. They are celebrating the ring with Lola as before the show goes off the air. Papa Oso, I mean, we already know this was the easily hands down the best match and the best thing of the evening, but I want your additional thoughts. What did you think of this main event match?
Quite literally, this could have been this match. They could have ran this match for 2 hours and I would have been perfectly okay. And the rest of it could have just gone away. I'll say an hour and a half. We'll give that first match, the first half hour. Get rid of that 10-minute novella that happened at the beginning and then scrap all of the loose skin out from in between and then just let us watch these 6 women beat the absolute shit out of each other. Because, oh my God. It's like, oh my God. I love it. Oh my God, it was the best. It was absolutely. I was like, okay. I'm sorry I had to sit through all that other crap just to get to this, but it was worth it.
And of course, Kilt, all 3 of our girls are on main roster, so we continuously get to see these 3 do things on main roster. But damn, I need this team up to happen more often.
No, we don't, because Stephanie's barely on. Lyra is used, but in weird ways, and Mommy sometimes shows up. And usually it's the beef with someone in a backstage segment for whatever reason, and it's not well done. But all I have to say is, ah, 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 ah. Oh, so it's hilarious. You just see everyone, as soon as Booker walks out, when his music hits, that's all that they're chanting. They're just chanting that the entire time. And I'm like, yes. It's so good. It's so great. I hope Tuesday when I go next, I get to my spot I got 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I should say, because I missed last week. So yeah, 2 weeks ago. No, yes. The last time I was there, I was right behind Booker, because that was a great spot. It's like I was literally a row behind him. I'm like, I could touch you, but I'm not going to, because I know I don't know you. I know that announcer dude over there.
Mike Rome is really good. We love Mike
Rome. Can I talk about Mike Rome for a minute? I want to talk about Mike Rome. Mike Rome is hilarious. His kid just had his first birthday like a week or two ago. So happy birthday, Mini Rome. And his channel over on Twitch is hilarious, and I enjoy hanging out there. I have a couple clips of him and saying weird things. One of which he actually turned into his gift sub alert, and then he pulled an old GIF of him that Nia Jax took of him doing the suck it. And it which made my heart happy. But Mike, he is getting to be one of those voices within the company that I'm not just in the company, but as an announcer, like as a ring announcer, that I'm loving. Like, obviously, I have my favorites. Especially our main lady over there on the main roster. But because Alicia Taylor is phenomenal. I love her hair. I love her fashion sense. I love her. She's amazing. But Mike is like, he's growing on me, and I absolutely love him. And I'm going to gush on him for a little while, and I'm going to probably give him a shout out in a minute. I'm probably going to post this a clip just gushing over that man. His hair is nice too. Okay, like he's always dressed nicely. He's got nice hair. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, this whole night was wonky. This was probably the best part of it. And as Papa also said, I could literally just watch this the entire time.
For reals. The tag team championship, again, the women of NXT carrying the show like they always do every week. So those are the two highlights. Everything else was just weird. So, I mean, Lola celebrating with Rhea and Stephanie and Lyra as the show goes off the air. We get a little bit of a segment with Ava mentioning that her phone all night has been blowing up, and, Oba and Ricky exchange words where, we're probably going to get one more thing toward them next week on the Go Home show. But before we sign off, I do need to talk about this because, I mean, it's kind of small because I tried to, stretch it out and then it just made it look worse. But this is a picture. Shout out to Pro Wrestling and MMA Facebook page for giving me all the info and, doing the Wrestling Lord's work when it comes to this. This is a screen grab of pretty much every single talent, announcer, and backstage interviewer correspondent of TNA talking about how they are tired of the disrespect that NXT is giving to TNA. And Mike Santana's tweet is like, it literally says, I'm kind of tired of the disrespect. So it's about time we do something. So I was like, I'm about to kick down the door and we're going to have a nice little chat. So I was just like, oh boy, here we go. So again, with the match we're getting with Oba and Trick for title versus title, I was just like, TNA, somebody, Mike Santana, somebody's about to come in. It's going to be messy. It's going to cost it. But I smell a plot. And I think the plot is, I think we're finally pulling the trigger on an NXT versus TNA storyline. And what's giving me credence into that is, according to a report that's been going around, next week, especially during that match between Oba and Trick, it's going to kick off the storyline for NXT versus TNA. And supposedly, allegedly, we are getting a NXT versus TNA event happening within the next month or two. So I'm just like, I'm very interested to see when and where we get this, because we already know Trick and Mike are facing against each other for the TNA World Championship in October at Bound for Glory. So I'm very interested to see how we do this. Is this another, NXT pay-per-view with TNA? Are we going to do another Worlds Collide event? But I'm like, I need TNA, this locker room, to show some backbone, and I need them to whoop some ass. I'm not expecting everybody to walk out as the winner, but there are certain folks in that TNA locker room that need to win. Like Mike Santana needs to win. Masha Slamovich needs to beat a hoe up. Like, I need to, you know what? I'll even take Steve Macklin destroying some fools. Like, you know what? Danny Luna's a heel right now, but I need her to beat. Listen, Danny Luna can beat any bitch up in NXT, not even gonna lie. But I need a Danny Luna Zarya match like right now. That's what I want to see. And also, it should be fun too, because with this NXT versus TNA storyline, Papa, also, it would be very interesting to see if they utilize Jordan Grace as a member, a part of the storyline. It's like, Jordan, how does it feel that you're facing your old co-workers? It was just like, hey, but you know what? It'd be spicy. And you know what? It would be hilarious as Jordan's like, you know what? I'm going to be here on NXT side because this is where I am now, but I love y'all. And then Blake defects for a little bit to go. Be like, I just hate you, Jordan. So I'm going to go on TNA side. I'm like, oh my God. But again, I smell a plot. I don't trust NXT or TNA right now to do this very well, but do color me intrigued. Papa, also, what did you think about TNA locker room letting it be known on them social medias last night that they tired of the NXT disrespect?
I love it. And I hope it's what it is. I hope that is, if it is that's going to be pretty stellar. I think. Because,
so.
I mean, if they, here's the thing though. They have to handle it right. If it's not handled right, then it's just going to be like lip service to fans. And I think a lot of them deserve so much more than that. Like, they deserve like a true them versus us type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
So yeah, we shall see what happens. So, but that's going to be it for us here at NXT Losos. Again, this was a really weird episode. We got a really good championship match to open the show. The main event was fun, but everything else was doo-doo. I was like, I don't care enough about this. But next week, we are back to our regular scheduled format and flow of NXT, as it will be the go-home show for No Mercy, as we get a final look at the card and all the stories going into it. But yeah, that's it for us here. Obviously, I think we will do better, because I apologize. I felt like I did a lot of talking, but honestly, this was not a fun show for the three of us to actually banter about and actually talk about good things, because it was very mediocre for the majority of it. But hopefully the show next week will be better, and that way we can banter and, be cooler about it. But before we log off, I do want to give a preview as to what the remainder of this week looks like, because it is also another light week before hell breaks loose. But later on tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, Papa Oso and I will be back to review CMLL. It is the final Viernes Espectacular before Aniversario, which is this Friday. Holy crap, we're finally here, and we're going to talk all about that and preview that whole card, because it is massive. Then on Friday, speaking of which, the Los Lobos de la Lucha boys will be here doing a live watch-along of CMLL's 92nd Aniversario at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to strap ourselves in, because we had a fun time last year, and I cannot wait. And then we wrap up this week on Saturday at 9 a.m. as I will be covering Defy Wrestling's Aeon review. We're getting an open challenge for the men's title. Marina Shafir's defending her women's title. We are getting the Defy Wrestling debut of Killer Cross, so that should be a lot of fun as well. But yeah, so a very light week. And then, of course, in the morning, I'll be doing the Defy review. And then afterwards, I will be making my way to Los Angeles to, be at my first GCW show. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. But that's going to be it for us here at NXT Losos. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next Wednesday at the same time to review the Go Home show before No Mercy. But until next time, from all of us here at the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. Well, me and Papa Oso here, we'll see y'all in a matter of hours. But until then, sayonara, adios, and peace.